Hello and welcome to this Kuali Days session. It is the closing session for the student track. This will be the final session for Kuali Student, which was for curriculum and catalog, and then we'll be transitioning still to other tracks. So the length of the conference is about 3 weeks total, and Joel will touch base on that towards the end. The lead on this session is going to be Joel Dehlin, who will be doing the closing session. One thing to just note as the moderator for the session, we're glad that you're able to join us throughout the entire week, but again, for this session today. As you've probably heard quite a few times, all attendees will be on mute throughout the presentation, but please feel free to type your questions into the chat as they come to you, or if you have feedback or some exciting things to share, or prompting Joel on anything he's saying, please feel free to use the chat functionality. We will go ahead and transition at this time, so I'll kick it off to Joel.
Thanks, Joni. Hi, everyone. Thanks for coming to Kuali Days this year. We really are grateful for it. It just takes me back so much to the very beginning of the company when we were meeting with a very few people to try and figure out what kind of tools we could create to be game changers in higher ed. So this brings back great memories for us. We're going to talk about a little bit about the company, a little bit about the conference, and then some about the community. I wanted to share our values, and I haven't shared these in a while, but these are the 6 values that we founded the company with, and they haven't changed. And every year we look at them and try to decide if we should change them. And so far we haven't wanted to. Iterate to evolve is a key thing that we focus on. We try to do things in incremental steps. And syllabus is an example of that. We're working with a couple of customers in order to design a new syllabus app that will be available this year. We do that a little bit at a time. It comes out as soon as it's barely ready, and then we improve it over time. And that's part of our ethos. Cultivate openness is something we try to just be honest and have integrity and talk about things in an open way. Act with accountability. We feel like we have a big responsibility, and as individual employees, we encourage our people to be accountable for things. So when we make mistakes, when we have a bug or there's an outage, we try to talk really openly about it. Deliver amazing experiences is about our user experience as well as our customer experience. So if you ever feel like we're not doing things well or they need to be improved, we hope you'll continue to speak up. Assuming the best is about having a positive attitude and assuming that when our customer talks about something to us, or when an employee talks to another person, that there isn't some hidden agenda, that we're just trusting each other, that we have each other's best interest in mind. And the last one is practice humility, and we use the term practice intentionally. Humility is something, when we talk about humility, what we really mean is the ability to learn. And the only way to learn from people is to be aware of ourselves, and to be aware when we're not being humble and we're not in a mode of being willing to learn. So that's an important value for us. Kuali is a company focused, it's a modern software company focused in higher ed, and we love the fact that the community is heavily involved. As we've talked about before, there are 5 key product categories or product lines that we have, and they each have their own set of modules and sub-modules that are focused on a variety of different decision makers throughout higher ed. And you'll see us get better and better at coming out with new modules. And one of the things that Build lets us do is to elevate the impact across the different product categories or product lines. So it's something that we can add on to really allow you to be more flexible in your business processes. So we're one company, but we have 5 different business lines. And we create purpose-built modules for each of those business lines, and those are tailored to the audience, and it helps to elevate impact in those areas. So from a conference perspective, we actually have a conference for each of our business lines with different dates. So right now this week is the research and the student conference. Next week is ready and financials. So if you have people who are interested in business continuity planning or in a financials product, feel free to invite them. But the one that you might think about either attending yourself or inviting people from your institution to attend is the Build conference. That'll be from March 8th through 11th. So a couple of highlights. I just want to share some highlights with you. Some great things have happened. I'm super pleasantly surprised about this conference. I've felt really good about it. I was really worried about it being remote, and I feel great about how it's worked. But before we do that, I want you to just try something with me. And this may seem a little unique for a conference, but just drop whatever you have, your pen, your whatever, your phone, just put it down for a sec. And I want you to release the tongue from the roof of your mouth and just relax your jaw. And then breathe. So breathe in through your nose and then out through your mouth. So sometimes it's important that we learn to breathe again. So I forget sometimes, I get intense and I have very shallow breaths. But what we should be doing is breathing through our nose and exhaling through our mouth. It's a really natural way to breathe. And this is really natural for young kids or for babies. They understand abdominal breathing and we forget it as adults. So this is a long presentation. It's been a long conference. Let's take a minute to breathe. If you're not sure if you're breathing through your belly or your chest, then you can put your hand on your chest and another on your stomach. And when you breathe in, you'll be able to tell by whether your stomach is moving, whether you're breathing into your abdomen or through your abdomen. So sorry, that's a little weird, but hopefully it was useful for you. And I want to say thank you for being involved in Kuali Days 2021. Like I said, it was just way more than I expected. So I'm grateful for you to be here. In our app, we had 859,000 engagements. So that was anytime you clicked on something, wrote a little message, whatever, almost 900,000 times. I appreciate everyone who rated the sessions, and I hope you'll go back and rate as many of the sessions as possible. It makes a big difference for us to have those ratings so that we can know the things that are really important. In fact, I'd love to do a poll right now, and it's going to be really binary, but I'll ask you to just be really honest about it. The question is Joni, I assume we can do this. So
yes, we can.
Tell us, was this valuable? Yes or no, or you're not sure? This is great. Okay, just another minute. A couple more coming in. All right, y'all, thank you so much. I just really appreciate and I'm grateful for you being willing to give us your honest feedback. I want to give a couple of shout outs. So can I just share this? I'm going to share these results.
Yep, please feel free.
So we appreciate it. Those who are undecided, we would love your feedback. Please give us feedback about how we can make it so that next year you feel like this was absolutely a great use of time. I want to take a minute to give a couple of shout outs for some of the sessions. So first of all, James Wigington. James, we're really grateful for you. He's the manager of curriculum and calendar at the University of Victoria in Canada. We're really trying to get him to use the proper term for catalog instead of using calendar, but he's got some internal pressure in Canada to not do that. So we'll see if he gets over that. He presented the implementation of quality catalog at the University of Victoria. University of Victoria is in Canada. It's a public research institution with 17,000 full-time students. They're a CM and a calendar user. One of the pro tips from his session was to consider downstream data flow. Curriculum dynamically builds catalog calendar to eliminate duplicate or manual efforts and ensure data integrity across systems. So James, thank you. James was also involved in several of our evenings, trivia and other things, or code names. So thank you very much, James. Thanks for participating. I want to recognize Katie. Katie is the Senior Curriculum Coordinator at Arizona State University. She presented on managing curriculum pre-approvals in Kuali with Arizona State University. I think one of the terms Katie used, it was a unique term. I can't remember if it was giddy or it was a term, something like that, that I was just so happy to hear her say. So thanks, Katie. You've been a great partner so far, and we're anxious to get y'all live. Arizona State's a public research institution with only 67,000 students, so it's one of the smaller ones. And they're using Kuali curriculum management and Build. Pro tip from her session was consider the full curriculum process and who needs to be part of the workflow for each content type to streamline processes and gain efficiencies. Katie, thank you very much. We appreciate you participating. Look forward to participating with you next year. And then Mike. Mike O'Connor is with Southern New Hampshire University. He's the Associate Director of System Analytics in the Registrar's Office at SNHU. SNHU is a private nonprofit university with, again, only 150,000 students, so kind of small schools, but still awesome. Kuali Curriculum Management and Catalog. In fact, SNHU was the original design partner with Catalog. We designed it with SNHU and also BYU Idaho. Their catalog is published biannually. And a pro tip from his session was iterate to evolve. Higher ed and technology continue to change over time. Have a mindset that your curriculum and catalog will too. Appreciate Mike for participating in our game nights and for running a session as well. And then virtual Mike was the most engaged. He was at all of the virtual cafes and was a mainstay there. So we appreciate you being engaged there at the virtual cafes, Mike. Thank you very much. And then Susan Dennis from Boise State University. Boise State University is a public research institution university with student FTE of 17,800. Kuali curriculum, the biggest in Idaho. Kuali curriculum management and catalog. And a note from her session was community is a critical part of why Kuali exists. The more we contribute our ideas and learn from one another, the more valuable our experience is as a customer and the more insight Kuali has as a vendor. Let's continue to elevate impact together. Susan, thank you so much for participating. We're just grateful for you. Especially the guest appearance in your session of Pipsqueak. Pipsqueak made several different appearances in this session, and we're grateful to get to know a new friend. So Susan, thank you very much to you and to Pipsqueak. So conference session assets. Session recordings. So there's a couple of questions. Are the conference sessions presentation recorded? Yes, most of the sessions are recorded, and we'll be making many of these available to you. Where can you access the recording sessions? They'll be available on Socio. When will I get access to the copies of the recorded sessions? Within a week or two of the conference, hopefully a week. And how long will I be able to access the recordings? The plan is through October 31st. And we'll send out a notification when they're available. Session slides and handouts. Some of the sessions we will provide handouts for. In the cases where the presenter has agreed to do it. And some of them that may show up in our help documentation. Some of you asked whether you can use the handouts or slides in your sessions. Some of those will actually build into our user documentation, so you can just get it there. How can you get a copy of the presentation? We'll upload them a week after the conference. And then how long will I be able to access the copies of the presentation? We'll upload those in Socio, and we recommend you download as soon as possible following the conference. Okay, community. Kuali online user community. We had a great session that we talked about last month, and then again here at the conference. We encourage you to engage at kuali.ccm.zendesk.com. So it's a great opportunity to continue this conversation in the community. We will be at conferences, so you'll see us at a variety of events. We were at SACRO actually earlier this week. We'll be at ACRO March 29th through April 1st, and we'll see you there. So we try to attend as many conferences as we can. We feel like it's a great opportunity to communicate with y'all and to meet with potential customers. And we're an active sponsor at a number of different higher ed conferences. This is our contact information. So if you want to get in touch with us, if you're, about Kuali Days, send us something at kualidays@kuali.co. So if you have any questions about handouts or videos or demos or whatever, and you can always contact me. My email is joel@kuali.co. So if you have questions, for example, I've already had several people contact me about the syllabus app. If that's something that's of interest to you, we can't have too many partners in building it, but if it's something that's of interest to you, let me know. And before we go, I want to tell you a story. So you may have heard about the video that went viral. This was absolutely hilarious, where a lawyer logs into Zoom with a judge, and he's texting, "I'm here, judge. I'm here live," or he's talking, I'm here live. I'm not a cat," but he had left a filter on in Zoom. So he's sitting there talking, and while he's talking, the cat's voice, it looks like the cat is talking, and the judge is like, "What is going on?" But he's sitting there talking, and he can't get it off. He's totally mortified about it, and everyone's looking. So super goofy and funny, and I really felt for him. Well, there was another story that happened this week. If you weren't able to attend the Wednesday night gnocchi cooking session with Danny, if we do it again next year, and somehow I feel like that's absolutely going to happen because we had so many people requested after they heard about it, come next year. But this year on Wednesday night, in one of the sessions, there was a camera, and the camera had a background. It had actually dough. So it was showing the dough for the gnocchi. But Joni and Danny had left the eyebrow filter on. So the dough had eyebrows. So they were just absolutely cracking up because this dough was sitting there with eyebrows. And then all of a sudden the puns started to come out. "I'm ready to be needed." It's a person or a docent. But seriously, on a serious note, always keep your eyebrow on the dough. Okay, sorry, maybe that's not as funny to others as it was to me, but come next week. Y'all, I'm dropping my mic right here. I am going to leave it open for questions. If there are questions, Joni, hopefully you won't be too mad at me about that. If there are any questions, I'm happy to answer the questions. And otherwise, thank you so much for coming to Kuali Days this year. And we really look forward to seeing you and 3 of your friends next year.
Thank you, Joel. And absolutely, this session will still be open until I guess it's 4 p.m. Central Time, so 3 p.m. MST. So please feel free to stick around. If you have any questions, please feel free to type them in the chat or give us any feedback along the way. Just to repeat the results from the poll, I'm going to share them one more time. And so from your perspective, was Kuali Days 2021 valuable to attend? 95% of participants said yes, 0% said no, and 5% said undecided. We'd love to hear your feedback about maybe why you're still undecided. So please feel free to add that to the chat or reach out to us individually if you prefer that as well. All right, do we have any questions at this time? So Joel, one of the questions is about Kuali being a one company. So having it sounds like they had financials initially, and then they added CM, and now they're thinking about maybe build in the future. So they were wondering if financials is Kuali, or if it's all kind of under that blanket of Kuali as a company.
Yeah, so financials is part of the Kuali company as well. So we started off 16 years ago building the financials product, and then MIT had built a research product, so we brought that in, and Berkeley had built a continuity planning product, and we brought that in. And at the time, the community was working on a student information system. So when the company started in 2014, we took all of those products. We've been rewriting them over time. Build and curriculum management were rewritten from scratch, which is why you see a lot more similarities in those products. All of the products are part of our company, and all of the products over time will look more and more the same. Not all of them are completely rewritten yet, so we'll continue to take the best from the different products and to add them in, so that we continue to look and feel like one company. And we're taking the best ideas from the different products, and you'll see that when syllabus comes out. Syllabus is going to feel very much like kind of a mix of curriculum management and build, taking the best ideas from those products. Joni, do you feel like I answered that?
Yes, thank you so much. And then we have a question. Will Kuali consider returning to an in-person conference for 2022?
We'll consider returning to an in-person conference. I confess that I like this a lot, but we'll have a conversation internally, and we would love your feedback. So if you prefer it be remote, we had so many people come this time that might not have come if we were in person. So we're not sure yet, but we'd love your feedback on it.
And then there's another question. What are the dates for Kuali Days 2022? And then are they historically around the same time if we don't have the specifics?
I think that they're going to be in the spring sometime, but we don't have the dates yet. We usually try to get the dates out within 2 or 3 months of this conference. In the past, we've announced the dates at the conference, but we're not doing that this year, but we should have it within just a couple months. There was a comment here. Crystal said that she did the breathing with her class with students on days that feel stressful.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, that's awesome. And then James says, great conference. It was lovely to meet everyone at Kuali as well as connecting with other customers. I loved it as too. I loved it too. Thank you.
And then there's another question related to the brief mention of syllabus management. So could you repeat what they should do if they have any questions or wanted to talk with you more about that?
Yeah, syllabus management will basically be our first foray into section management. So we're working on section scheduling, which will come out after syllabus. Syllabus will be first. But basically the idea is that a faculty person can submit their syllabus for approval. There will be an approval process for the syllabus, and then there will be a website that you can host on your site if you'd like to be able to search for and see all of the syllabi. So that's something that we're working on right now. As is typical, what we did with CM and with Build and with Catalog and with products in the other business lines is that we'll have design partners. So the design partners come in, they commit to being a customer of the product, they help us design it, so we meet with them frequently in order to review what it is that we're working on. And they just have more influence in the beginning because they're there as a design partner. So if you're interested in being a design partner, it does take some time. So make sure that you have the time to spend to give us a person that can meet with us to give us the feedback. And we'll just have a very few number of design partners. But if it's something that's of interest to you, feel free to reach out to me, joel@kuali.co.
And that is also in the chat in case you want to confirm that email. It's joel@kuali.co. So don't put .com. .com is a recipe a location on the website. So just .co. There is another comment that came in from Carol Cox. So just related to travel. So many institutions have had some budget cuts due to COVID, so it may not be recovered fully in fiscal year 2022. So funding could be an issue for some institutions, and they do appreciate having a virtual option, just as some feedback.
Awesome. I am interested. I don't know if we can do this dynamically, but doing a poll about whether you'd rather do it in person or remotely or don't care. I'd be interested. I mean, it's not going to be a vote or a democracy, but I am interested in your feedback. So if we can't do that, Joni, that's okay. But
yeah, we can. Annie will try to doing that. Otherwise, we will for sure include it in the follow-up survey that we'll send out as an email to everyone following the conference. And we did have another question come in, Joel, if that's okay.
Yeah, so Terry mentioned section management exists to determine the optimum number of sections that should be offered for a term. I can't make any announcements about that. This module is not that. This module is, sorry, you were asking about section scheduling. So we're doing the syllabus stuff, and then section scheduling is initially is resource scheduling. So it's the capability to be able to say, these are the different resources, the biology lab, room 42 of the Tanner building, whatever those are, and to identify within those resources, what kind of thing, is there a blackboard, is there a overhead projector, how's the Wi-Fi, whatever the information is, and then the ability to schedule those resources for sections, and then to have a list of all the different sections, including what rooms they are and those types of things. That's what that's for. There are a variety of different capabilities that we could put into the product, and this is one of those. And I don't want to announce anything on that, but realize it's something that we would look at. That's all I can say about that.
And then there's another question that came in. If there is a virtual conference in 2022, will Joel sing?
Tommy sing. If
I
you
have no comment.
and it's not a pretty sight. It's funny that an anonymous person said that.
Maybe they will show themselves at some point.
Know yourself. What other questions do you have?
Okay, we're just reviewing the chat here and then the questions.
I will see it be below. I don't know if it's below you, but below is Josie Dehlin. It's not a coincidence that those last names are the same. Josie is my daughter. She works for free, and she's going on a mission to Italy in April. So she's just doing some work with us before she goes and learns Italian.
And a separate fun fact is that Joel also has another daughter who works here, Hannah. So he has two, he keeps it all in the family. It's a lot of fun. And it also, from my perspective, I think it helps show that, Joel is really invested in the company and the success of it over time as well, especially having your own family members work here. So I think that's pretty cool. Are there any other questions or any comments that anyone would like to focus on? Looks like we have one more here. So one of the things that I miss from being in person at Kuali Days is the roundtables or speed sessions on the various products. How can I learn about what some of the other product lines are up to now?
That's a great question. So one way to do it is to go to those sessions. We didn't have a speed geeking session in this one, did we, Joni?
We did not have one at this particular conference, but there has been some conversation about just releasing a quick little overview to each of the attendees.
We'll do that. We'll do a speed geeking type of session, but in the future, I think we're more likely to do this session remotely in the same week next time. So, so we'll see. If not within a week, we'll at least, if not within the same week, we'll at least do the speed geeking sessions so that you can get an idea of the different products. I miss that too. I really like that.
Definitely, and I'll add that this was Kuali Days' first virtual user conference. So I think that as we moved throughout the week, we started learning cooler features to use and more engaging features or more ways of being engaging in a virtual platform. So that was my first poll that I shared with everybody, and I think that maybe next time I'll be geared up to do more on-the-spot polls. So being able to just get your feedback on different things that you've used or experienced in other conferences that seem to work well in a virtual platform is definitely welcome. We have another question or another comment that came in about loving being able to see some of the sessions actually have repeat sessions during the conference so that they can jump into those same sessions live.
Carol also mentioned the budget cuts for COVID and so forth, and that's one of our concerns. So if I were to guess, I would think that we're going to do it remotely next time, but we'll definitely be interested in your feedback on that. And then Kara made the comment about dying to ask that question about Hannah. Hannah's a funny story. She went to, she came home from college and she wanted something to do. And I said, well, you could work for Kuali for free, but we can't pay you because it's a nepotism type of thing. And, I don't want to do that. And so she ended up working for us for a year for free. And then I think she was kind of thinking maybe at some point I should go get a real job. And I had a couple of customers who said, don't you let Hannah leave. Because at the time she was more in a support role. So she ended up coming on full time.
And then it looks like there's Kara said she is fantastic. So I think a lot of people agree with that across the company and the customers. Thank you for that feedback. And then another question that came in, surprise, they were asking you about your history, and it sounds like you may have worked at Microsoft and Canvas, if you want to speak to either of that.
Sure. So I started off as a software developer. I went to Microsoft in 1994 after Arthur Andersen. I was there for 10 years. So at Microsoft, I was the executive producer for their first internally produced computer game. It was a massively multiplayer space action game. I was the division director for their mobile devices division. So I was the original product manager for the iPac, the compact iPac, which is a pocket PC. I founded their incubation lab, while I was there. So I had a lot of really fun times at Microsoft. And then I worked for the Mormon Church for 7 years. I was their chief technology officer. We had a technology group that was about 1,200 people. So it's a very large organization. And the IT staff, I was the CIO. The IT staff is huge. And then since then, I've been doing startups. So the last startup I was involved with, I was the chief technology and product officer for Instructure, which provides the Canvas learning management system, which most of you use. So that's a little bit about the background.
Great, thank you for adding that, Joel. Is there anything that you learned in your Microsoft days that you would have brought along with you to Kuali that seems to be helpful?
I guess I should, I mean, I'm trying to think of something awesome to say, but the only thing I can say, the only thing that comes to mind is I learned a lot of what I don't want to do. I was a very different type of manager and different person at Microsoft. I was a lot more type a lot more of a command and control type of leader. And actually, I find that people work more effectively when they're empowered. You end up making mistakes sometimes, but you also get involved so many more people and so many diverse and different perspectives if you allow people to own what it is that they do. So a lot of what I learned at Microsoft, I've actually had to unlearn. It was a fantastic experience. I loved it. I loved the people, but the type of manager I was, which rubbed off on me because of the culture, I've had to unlearn a little bit. I don't know if that's what, I don't know if that was valuable, but.
Yeah, that's definitely valuable. There's another question. What is Kuali Ready? I've heard of people utilizing that, and sometimes people from the registrar's office talking about it. So they were just asking about if you could give an overview of what Kuali Ready is.
Kuali Ready is a continuity planning product. So it's a product that allows institutions to prepare for a disaster, which this year was that. So what it does is it's a workflow, it's basically a tool where a continuity planner, which is typically only one hat of many hats that a person wears at an institution, can send out notices to all of the different departments and gather their continuity plans. And they can configure the wizard, and then the wizard kind of walks the departments through their planning process to make sure that they're ready. And so those that were using Ready were really a lot more prepared this year for the pandemic than those who were not, because they had a tool that helped them to prepare all of their continuity plans. That's kind of, in short, that's what it is. It's a very inexpensive product. I think the most expensive version of it is like 13 or 14,000 a year, but it scales down to like 7 or 8,000 a year, depending on the size of the company or the size of the institution.
Great. Another question that came in. We enjoyed some of the case studies. How can we work with Kuali to create one for curriculum and catalog management?
If you're interested in doing a case study, we love case studies, mostly because we like to hear people talk good about us. So it makes us feel good internally, but it's also valuable. I don't know if you've looked at many of the other case studies, but it's valuable to see what other people are doing. So if you're interested in a case study, just contact us. You can contact your customer success manager. You can send something to me. If you've got a story to tell, we would love to do a case study, to do a webinar with you. If you've got a story to tell, we'd love to amplify that story to help other people. Also, just a reminder about the Kuali Build Contest. Several of you have had really good ideas. And Lindy, I'm looking at you. You haven't put yours in yet. Really good ideas for potential build apps. So if you have an idea for a build app, put it into the Kuali Build Contest URL that Danny just dropped in the chat. And I think that contest closes in 2.5 weeks. So put your idea in there, and if we choose it, we will build it for you and we'll let you use it for free for 2 years.
Hey, I just want to jump in really quick. This is Annie Bartlett. I'm just here as tech support, but I wanted to mention, Joel, and to the customers here, you don't need to be a Kuali Build customer to participate in the contest. We actually encourage everyone to participate, even if you haven't used Build before.
Yeah, the group that won it last time was not a customer. It was Southern Connecticut. So yeah, if you don't have to be a Build how
Another question came in about how how customers can partner or present with Kuali for Kuali Days next year or at different conferences throughout the year?
If you're interested in presenting, we let us know. The earlier you can let us know, the better, because then it allows us to create the agenda up front. We will send out a call for proposals. But if you know that you want to do one right now, let us know, because it will influence our call for proposals. So just let us know if you're interested in doing a session. It's fun. It might be out of your comfort zone, but I think people are really forgiving and appreciate it. So we hope that many of you will do sessions next year. Just contact us through your CSM or through anyone you know in Kuali, and we'll point you to the right people.
And CSM being the customer success manager for your project, or just a primary contact that you've worked with or know at the company, and we can help forward that.
Colleen, Ashley, Hannah, Sarah, whomever.
Okay. There's a question about where is Kuali, the company, headquartered?
Kuali headquarters is in Utah. It's in Lehi, Utah, which is right between Salt Lake City and Provo, Utah. Provo is where Brigham Young University is, and halfway between those is Lehi. And that's where the offices are. I go into the office about maybe once a week. Very few people go into the office these days. But about 70% of our employees are remote. Even the employees in Utah are primarily remote before the pandemic. We're just a remote company. So we use Zoom and this kind of thing all the time. And, remote it was pretty easy for us to transition to remote during this pandemic, because that's how we work anyway. There were just a few people who weren't able to go into the office who typically go in the office.
There's another question. If we want to attend the Build conference track next week, how would we go about doing that?
The Build conference track is 2 weeks from now, so it's the week after next. And you would just go to the same Kuali Days website and register. And I think the Build conference is free. Am I right, Joni?
That's correct. The Build conference is free, and there is a direct link if you're a prospective Kuali customer who is not registered for the actual full student track. If you're registered for the full student track, you have access to any of the different conference sessions already, and you can just add to your agenda through the app.
Yeah, yep. So we encourage you to go. It's going to be fun, and there'll be a lot of case studies, and it'll be fun.
All right, so I think that's it for the questions. If you want to give a quick closing, Joel, and we can close the session.
I was just checking. Oh, the QR code. Oh, you already dropped the link. I guess the only thing I'd say is thank you. We just appreciate you. When I founded the company, with 2 goals. One is to have happy customers, and one is to have happy employees. That is what I care about. It's what gets me up in the morning. And so this conference is important to me because it allows me to kind of keep a pulse on how happy you are. And it always ends up being kind of a rush. The employees kill themselves to get ready for this, and then they leave the conference feeling like, oh, that was awesome, So I appreciate you, because you literally are half of what makes me feel happy about my job. So we look forward to seeing everyone next time. Always, if you have contacts in the industry that you feel would benefit from our products, we always appreciate a recommendation, and we'll reach out in a non-pressure type of way to help them understand our products. And we look forward to seeing you next time. If you're ever out here and you want to go skiing or snowboarding, let me know, because I love to go.
And by out here, he means Lehi or Salt Lake City, Utah.
Yeah, in Salt Lake City, Utah.
All right, great. Thank you so much, Joel. I think that was a great closing session, and there are no other questions. So again, if you would like to contact us, feel free to reach out to us at either Joel at kuali.co, or you can go to our website, kuali.co, fill out a interest form to be contacted if that's easiest for you, or feel free to just connect with us through the application, which is Socio, the conference app. So thank you so much, and we will stop the webinar at this time. Have a great day, and we look forward to hearing from you in the future.